Hello and welcome back to the channel. It is Mark from Powersonic and Apprentice 1-to-1. You will see behind me, we are at TIS. And that is because we have made them the Solar Chaser 1000. This is a rig that they're going to be using here to do some testing, training. I get lots of questions on my content around the PV checks and ISA test. And the team at TIS get exactly the same. They are quite complicated to set up and understand how they work. And to solve that problem, because they are awesome, they're stepping forward with some training that they're going to be running to help installers. I'm going to show you how we built this, what's involved, and the purpose of it, how it works through the course of this video. So without further ado, let's get straight to it and see how it works. This is going to grow even bigger, and there's going to be an inverter, there's going to be a mechanism for switching faults in and isolation points. It's going to be a pucker mobile solar system, and I'll share more of it when we are able to do so and it is in its new home. But yeah, this is step one. So we have been a little busy, I say we, myself and Matthew, making what is going to be a rig for solar panel testing. We do things like this for trainers and such, and we have our own roof space up there with inverters, but sometimes it is easier to take the mountain to Mohammed, and there's elements of what this is going to be in that. We've got on here a couple of 440 watt panels, and we've got our structure, which is a very steep pitch. You would not want to climb this roof, and that is all absolutely rock solid. We're really happy with that. We're trying to keep it both strong but light because this is going to be movable. We're going to have another couple of panels on this rear side, and obviously in the panels alone we're pushing up towards 100 kilograms. It's going to be on casters. We're going to reinforce this base plate, and it should be the absolute business. There's going to be 6 panels in total when we are done. It's having to be constructed in 2 separate. So I thought I'd give you a quick run through of this. We've got our inverter up there, AC isolator, DC, SPD enclosure, a little bit of trunking to hide everything. Obviously still work in progress, but this is the second part of the bigger array, the bigger training structure that we're putting together. It does join on to this one, and I'll show you how in a little bit on these little clips. But yeah, just to say we've got the casters on as well. These will take 1,000 kilograms, so really strong wheels, and they're super easy to move. I can push this around absolutely no problem. We've put it together and give it a try as one long thing, because a key consideration for me was one person has to be able to move this, and it's an absolute doddle. We really can. We've got brakes on 4 of the wheels, so it'll be able to be braked from either end, stop it wobbling and moving about. And yeah, I'll show you how the proposed way of joining it together is in just a sec. So we have put it together, and we know that this works, but basically this A-frame, for want of a better description, pushes into this one, and it will screw. So these will screw together basically. You end up with these 2 screwed together, and then on the bottom we've got this little lip on the structural ply that sits over. It is all framed. These are all framed underneath for extra support, and we've got a little bit there that sticks out on some of the support and framing. So basically that pushes under there and screws down. This was Matthew's idea, by the way. So he decided to do that, and it's a really good move. I like it. And that will do that. They'll screw together. These rails can then screw into the A-frame when that's brought in. Joining strips just join onto these little bits of rail you can see here, and they then screw through onto here, with the end going up to our structural ply carrying the inverter you can see over there. And the end result is a great big train of 6 solar panels all together that you can move with one hand. We have pushed it all together and done this. I've been shoving it around, playing with it to make sure that it is really easy. I didn't want it to be a hassle or aggravation in shifting it about, but we've had to do it in these 2 pieces here because you just wouldn't get it in a vehicle to transport it to where it's going. So we've kind of been mindful of that. And yeah, it's come up as a really solid option for a training demo kit. So if you are wanting something like this for your company as electrical contractors working in renewables, or training providers or manufacturers or whatever, let us know, because we can come up with really bespoke options for you to practice and do some of the training that we're often missing in the world of training to get into the solar sector. And when this is in its full train, So imagine that's all been put together as one long piece. The idea is, because the weather in the UK is so bad and you might have a training course that you're running, you can have that basically at the door here, so this end in the dry, and your train of 6 panels out into the daylight and the rain, getting wet while you don't have to. So this can all, you can stay dry, working on all of this, doing your testing, demonstrating your training, and the SPD being in there might cause a few issues with some of the tests, and that's one of the reasons it is there. You're not out in the elements. Obviously on bright sunny days you can just shove it all the way out and crack on. But that was one of the requests of the recipient of this, to stay in the dry, and we've tried to accommodate and allow for that in what we've put together. And it looks the absolute business with solar panels on. You know, this structural aspect, much like your loft at home, is all covered away. Instead of with tiles, with solar panels, you don't see any of it, and it's absolutely rock solid. And we are also building in, there's going to be another little box here with switches on it, where you can switch in faults. So if you want to switch in a ground fault, for example, or a short between the strings, or an MC4 that's got a high resistance joint, we're going to have all of those options coming back to a little test box on here. All of these sharp edges are going to be, we're going to take the corners off, that's all to be done. We're going to sand it all back, sand all this up as well, and make it look the absolute business. It's not some half-assed DIY effort, this, that's flappy and wobbles around. This is absolutely rock solid, super strong and sturdy, and that is exactly what we wanted. But we do need to put the finer polish on it now to get it how we want it. But I think that has come up pretty good. So this is all ready to go out for delivery tomorrow. We've got our little junction box of tricks here, which is going to have front cover on with some switches and whatnot to throw certain states in. Shall we say, we've got a little document pack up here, which has our all important solar panel data sheets for the inverter, and also the roof stringing layout as well. So they're all in there ready for anyone coming to look at this system. We've got DC isolator, AC isolator, massive long cord for plugging it in, and then we've got our rails, and you can see we've got bonds on these as well. If I spin you around this side, we have also got our string cables in position ready for the panels to go on, but also some wires in there ready to lay what I'm calling booby traps, but really it's just for fault finding for people to have a practice. But yeah, we'll get this out to site tomorrow, and I can show you it all installed and finished, hopefully, on Friday. So the cat is out the bag with this solar rig. We are at TIS, and they're absolute legends who are wanting to help industry with some knowledge and training on PV testing. I've shared lots of content on the PV checks and ISA test on the channel, and I get a lot of questions from contractors about how you set them up, how you use them. It is something really different to what we're used to. And the TIS technical team have been getting the same. So to try and meet that demand and cover off the stuff contractors actually want to know in training, they've come up with this concept, and myself, Matty and Nathan have made it. We've got 6 panels on here. I will take you for a close-up run through in just a second. Me and Matty are just here to finish this today. Nathan's not with us, he's on another job, and we've asked him to record some content, so I may cut it in with this one, maybe a separate video. But he has been made content creator for himself for the day, so that should be interesting to see what we get out of him. Because he's not here, we've got a very relaxed day, because he's the one who cracks the whip and makes us actually do work. So we're taking our time. We've just assembled this. Matt is popping in a little rotary isolator over there to supply it. I'll take you to see that in a minute. It's a Luden 3-phase 32 amp commander, because there is options for this to become 3-phase in the future. So we're trying to do it all now, so it's ready for when and if that becomes a thing. Just to show you around here, and I've been careful not to show you the factory here at TIS, but it is a beautiful spot. And you can see we've got another 3 panels on this side. Nathan must have texted Matthew telling him to get a move on. We've got our data sheet there, and that's for the Solace inverter. We have got our panel data sheet, and I've highlighted the important bits on there that you're going to need to input to your test instrument. So that's laid out. Schematic diagram, which shows the string layout in its normal operation. This is the box of magic tricks, and there's going to be some switches on here that haven't yet arrived, and they're basically going to throw in different volt states, so we can open up the earth path, we can introduce the high resistance joint, for example, we can split the strings apart rather than one continuous string into 2 separate ones and play with the voltages as such. So there's stuff that can be put in there that you might commonly come across out on site, and the guys from TIS or whoever's leading that training can take you through it. We've got our basic safety functions as well with the AC and DC isolators on the inverter and a long supply cord. These have lockable casters on, so it can be moved around by one person with one hand. I have just been testing that. There's obviously a fair bit of weight on there. These panels are around 20 kilograms each. So 20, 40, 60, got 120 kilos in panels, plus the mounting system, plus all the timber. I should have cut in some footage of how this was actually built at our unit. And we had fun getting it here. We had to hire a van, but it's here and it's on. And it's looking good. These longies look really nice, actually, supplied by Waxman Energy. So they're local to TIS, so it made sense to get the panels from them, and these are the all blacks they had in stock, and they're absolutely beautiful. It's Matthew busy away in the corner there. You can see down the middle, and this has been left open, so when those faults are introduced, you can come and locate them. There's access to all the cabling, and you can take measurements, try and find where the problem might be. You can spy down there. We've got our earth lugs on as well on each side, and they're set up in a way that we can do some stuff with that as well. Lockable casters down the end. I'm not going to step back because I don't want to reveal too much about where we are. But yeah, there you go. That's that. We'll push it outside, and I'll show you a little bit better in its intended environment of use. We'll go off dual record's normal video because it was distracting me. See, we've got the four casters. All the ones on the corners lock. Then we just got two in the middle to take the weight, and these can take 1,000 kilograms. So we're covered off in that weight. The whole base is reinforced. You can see we've got timbers running all the way around these base platforms. They are all screwed and locked together as well, with braces in there. As I say, we should have showed plenty of content of this actually been made. And if I just push it with one hand, I don't think I've currently got it locked. I won't go too far because I can't see where I'm going really. But there you go. You can spin it around, you can move it all with the push of one hand. It's a beast. So the isolate we've got for this is a Luden Palazzoli RCCB in the top here. So your 40 amp, 30 milliamp. And that is a 6.1, you can see in there, get it focused. 61008-1. We have got an MCB up front of this, which is coming down to this circuit as well. But with it going outdoors, we wanted an element of RCD protection on this, just in case. We've got the commando style output there, and this has been set up in a way that it's ready for 3-phase. So we've got that ready for the inverter swaps. There's no reworking of any of this that needs to be done. And we've got the neutral on the left here. So with these, it's a little bit different with the Proteus ones that we're normally used to wiring up for the RCDs, where the neutral is over on the opposite side, and then you've got your L1, L2, L3. All the bottom side is pre-wired, so you just need to go over those and make sure that they are tightened down. Obviously, it's been in transport, so you want to check that. And you've got your little earth terminal over on the right-hand side there, so dead easy to wire. Loads of space in the back. Might heat shrink these cores up because we've used the white, well, it's just what was given to us by the wholesaler. We've got the white 5-core steel wire arm submain down here. Matt's just at the board doing his stuff, so I'm going to pop the front cover onto this now, and we'll test it up when he's ready. But we're nearly there now. Just a little tip for trainees and apprentices as well. When you've made your terminations, especially with 7-strand or any termination into a cage clamp or a terminal bar, is just give it a few minutes to settle, let the copper relax, and go back over it again with your torque driver. You will start to learn, having done that a few times, that you always get a little bit more on there just once the copper's relaxed into the terminal. So yeah, make sure you're doing that. I got another half turn on these nearly, just as that 7-stranded relaxed into the cage clamp, and then you've got that nice tight connection that's torqued down appropriately and will serve its purpose dutifully for many years to come without setting on fire 2 weeks after you did it. So I mentioned this over on Instagram already, but one thing I don't like that I'm going to have to knock a couple of points off what is a really good product is this this blank here. They just keep popping out. There's one for each side, and they don't fill the gap properly anyway, and they do just flick out, and they'll get lost. And as soon as they've gone, and that's then gone forever, so we'll have to get that sorted out to a little bit of a better finish. But otherwise, that's that on now, wired, torqued down, connected. We've just got to finish up the last little bits, and then we'll show you the end result. Now we've got it outside, we can see it a little bit better. We're just plugging it in and we'll start to see if this actually works. You can see we've got the rig all out and on. Hopefully a nice little bit of footage of me pulling it out, but see, with the TIS, looking the business. Let's fire it up, see if it works. So you can see we're generating, we're up to 130 watts. We're actually in the shade, but it proves the concept. We're still to put our little switches in there. We've got all our isolation points, that's all good. You can see here there's nothing in the sun, it's all the way over there. So we are going to be limited in what we can actually do with this little, where we are right now. But you can see the proof of concept, it's working, which is fantastic. Just needs a little clean off, and otherwise we are done, ready to put the little box of tricks in, otherwise known as the fault switches. But yeah, locking wheels are all in, so that's locked it in place. You can see, I don't know if it's coming over on camera, but there's a bit of an incline pointing out that way, so it would very easily go racing off if they didn't work. And we've got the Solar Chaser 1000 in business and operational. So there we go, this is all ready to go now. The TIS team are going to have to develop their offering, and I'm sure they'll be doing that soon and bringing it forward to industry. Solving problems rather than causing them is exactly what TIS are all about. They've helped with Apprentice 121 for absolutely ages, helped industry pre that, and I'm sure they will continue to do so for years to come. This is all about helping us as installers rather than causing us problems to understand how these instruments work. I'll keep sharing content on my channel. And as I said earlier on in the video, if you've not seen it, there is a video with the PV checks on the TIS YouTube channel. I'll link to it in the description below, where you can go off and check that out. If you've got any questions or comments, please do drop them in below as always. And otherwise, we'll see you on the next one.